Welcome back to the World Go channel. I'm your host and self-appointed Go evangelist, James Story. Today's lesson is a Joseki lesson. It's J5.1.1. This is the 3-4 and 3-6 Shimari. That's a corner enclosure. That's what Shimari means. And a Kakari against it. And a Kakari means an attack against a corner. So let's get started here. Here's the 3-4 and here's the 3-6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 5, 6. Yep. Okay. This is a corner enclosure that Go Sagan preferred over this here. This wasn't ambitious enough for him. He liked to play this instead. And AlphaGo doesn't play this very often, but it plays this a great deal. So AlphaGo being the best Go player in the world, I think I will defer to AlphaGo's judgment. So the attack or the Kakari against this corner enclosure that AlphaGo uses is this move here. Black needs to then decide, does it want the corner and play there, or does it want the outside and play there? In this variation, we're going to look at what happens when Black plays the corner. In the next video, we'll look at what happens when Black wants the outside. If Black does nothing, the Tanuki, White will be happy to come down here with this move and cut these two stones apart, keeping them weak. So Black plays here. Now you would think that usually the Go proverb is Tsuke, that's an unprotected attachment, Hane of that stone, and then Nobi, here or here, an extension. But in this situation, White can play this. It looks initially like a stupid move because Black gets an Atari. The problem though is that when White extends, notice it has poked into the tiger's mouth, and it already has one cutting point of that poke. So White is already ahead in this fight, and notice this looks like a pretty severe Atari right now too. Black may try some forcing moves like this, and this. White comes out there, but notice Black really has some issues here too now. For example, if Black does nothing, there's Atari, and then Atari, and then White cuts this stone off, and that is not what Black had in mind when they played this stone out here. So Black would probably come back and protect this cut here, so that when White went there, Black played here, and now Black could connect these two stones. However, White at this point would probably leave that. They may play it, but they might also just come back here and play this move and capture this cutting stone in a net. This is an important stone to capture because it is a cutting stone. So otherwise, if White had a stone here, this stone wouldn't be very important. Black might want to repair this, and then White come back, something like that, keeping Black shut off from this side and having a pretty darn big wall over here. However, this is not the best play by Black. So let's go back. All right, let's go back to the beginning here. So Black has already made this Shimari. White attacks it here. Black plays there. White plays down here. Remember, Black wants the corner. So they play this move. White connects. And now Black has a cutting point here problem, a problem with a cutting point there that it must take care of. This is just a little too defensive. It can come down here. Notice a White play by here leads to a capture of this stone in a capturing race. Well, not a capturing race. I'm going to see the ladder. You don't even have to play a ladder. You can just drill it to the edge of the board. All right. What White ultimately would like to do is get this move in and then this extension to here. It's only a 3-point extension. There's a 3-stone wall. Usually you take the height of the wall and add 1. You jump off that many points. But this is the kind of the variation that AlphaGo prefers. Black is close, so White should probably play a little bit closer than normal, than out to here. The problem with this, though, is that, remember, here it is, White's turn. If they play this, Black is going to play some move over here that nullifies the potential of this wall. Now, White can't jump off and make a base. They might even play, as close as that. So it nullifies the potential of this wall, and instead of a wall that White can jump off of and make base and territory, and then have more influence towards the rest of the game, White is stuck with a string of stones between a very strong Black group and another Black stone, and white is going to be forced to kind of have to run out of there. Maybe it's something like this. This is kind of a normal, something like that. Black might play there. Black might come up here. But notice white is left now. Now black's starting to form territory over here, and white is still having to run and try to make eyes. If you have an eye on the side of the board already, it's much easier to make a living group by making another eye in the center. But making two eyes in the center means that you're going to be a target of your opponent for the rest of the game. So what white does is they try to get tricky. They try to play this, and then next they'll do this, and black will have to back up, right? And then white can jump off. And if black says, well, I don't like this, excuse me, that stone's not there yet. I don't like, if I don't do anything, and white plays here, and black has to come to there, white still has some agi here with this stone. So black may want to say instead, this isn't here yet, play this, and then but then when white plays there, black has to pick up, and then white gets what it wanted, and that's to jump off of that wall and make a base over here, make territory, and be involved in the rest of the board, the battles of the board. But that's too good for white, and black doesn't like that. So instead, black plays out here, gaining liberties. Notice these three stones are down to 3 liberties, so they're running short of liberties. However, white can't block black in. They'd like to do that because then they could come down to here, have 3 liberties. Black would have 2, and they could capture those stones, right? So if they could get here, then black would be forced to come back there and pick up or play here and somehow capture this stone. The problem with this, though, is that white can't block there because then black can cut. And notice this isn't a ladder for black. For white, rather, because these stones are now in Atari, and black can keep pushing them up, keeping them just this nice little thin string, and then simply, if whenever need be, come back and capture this stone and get out. And now they're the ones with this wall that's really projecting a lot of power and force and influence and potential territory over here, where white still has this stupid little string that they have now invested too many stones in, and it's a heavy burden for them because they can't let that many stones die. So white cannot block here. They do the next best thing. They extend out to there, and now their next move is to play there. And this shape here will be a nice solid shape. They should make an eye here. They'll probably make an eye down there, and they'll be okay. However, what's good for white is usually good for black, right? Usually your best move and your opponent's best move are the same move on the board. So black extends out. Notice they're gaining liberties. This stone becomes less and less of an agi making process for or an agi making liability for black all the time. The black's thread is push and then cut. And notice this stone can be captured in a ladder by black playing there. If white extends out this way, though, black can simply come and capture those stones. So that's completely unacceptable to white. They cannot allow, let's see, black there. They cannot allow black to come through, push and cut. They could connect, but then once again, now we're back to a string, and strings don't make territory, and they don't make eyes, and they just become targets of attack. So you need to spread your stones out in multiple directions. They could connect with a bamboo joint, but they can get away with just a little bit more. They can get away with this. These four stones here form a shape that's called the table. It's a very sturdy shape. The variation then is here, here. Notice now these stones are all connected through a tiger's mouth. White would love to play here next, getting a panuki, which is a really huge and powerful shape. And additionally, white even might turn that into an eye. Black doesn't want that. So they play here, and they threaten now to disconnect these stones. Cuts this off, and now look at they have a Atari and capture over on this side of the board. So white can't let that happen. So white now has to, white plays that. And notice they don't quite have a string, but they kind of got a dumpling, don't they? White has this shape that isn't expanding in multiple directions. I mean, it does have a wall here and a wall here, so it's got kind of like two sides of a box, but it's out into the center, so it can run easier. And this stone is just alone, and it might attack that stone. But it's black's move now, and black has an issue back here. They have to play this move to capture this stone. Let's say they don't. White does Atari, black connects, and white descends. If white can extend out this way, they're going to come up with a live group in the corner. So black plays that. Giving white a live group in the corner when black was already there and white influence on the outside, it's just like the worst of both worlds for black. So black plays here, blocking white's extension. White plays here, and now white's next move is to here and to make two eyes. Black says, no, I can see the bulky 5. There's the vital point. I'll play on that. White now plays here. They don't want black to be able to slip under here. That's really too easy for black. So they play here, and now they've made a zigzag 4 with 2 vital points. Black is already on one of the vital points, so they play the other one so that white does not end up with a live shape in the corner. Now black turns and comes back and attacks this group. Notice this has 3 liberties. All right. Black cannot extend. Well, first of all, they can't Atari there because they'll get captured, right? So if they try to play here and then here, making an Atari. See if they got to there, and then they got to here, and white connected, then black could capture it, couldn't they? The problem is, though, is that if they descend to here, white comes around here, and now black pushing into there is a self-Atari, isn't it? Instead, black has to try to come around this way and capture. Black plays here. White doesn't try to defend these stones. This is the object of the attack. Let that 1 or 2 stones go. They play there. Black Ataris. White Ataris here. Black captures and puts these 2 stones in Atari. But the problem is that white captures first. So these stones would come off the board, and that would mean white got half the corner and this huge group over here. And really, they came out as good or better than black in this battle, and black even had the two stones in the corner first. So that's really unacceptable for black. So going back here, so at this position right here, black owes a stone there. Notice white still has a big co-threat right here, right? They get to there, and these guys are weak, and white might even come back here and take the corner and then kill all these stones too. So that's a big co-threat. So when white plays there for a co-threat, black is pretty sure to pick up. All right, so that's kind of where the variation stops. Black plays here, it's white's move. Black has a solid corner. It's a pretty big corner, and that's what they expected when they played a big extension from here to here, this Shimari. They expected to have a big corner. If I were white, I would be very tempted to play this move. All right, so now you keep black, the black stones in this corner and away from the rest of the board, away from any future battles. You keep them out of the war, as they say. Also, now you can play, stones that, that give you, white eye space. They can easily make eye space down here if they want. This is a pretty forlorn stone out there. But of course, other things may be going on the board too, and white may choose to play somewhere else. Another here, double Hane, do not Atari this stone, descend here. Another thing that white might think of is to take the corner here, all right. And then what black usually chooses to do is to play this move. White comes back to here, making a live group. Here's one eye, and white has this move or this move from making another eye. White plays there, and then black comes up here and nets these 3 stones. But this looks like a really good deal for black. White didn't get a very big corner, and black got this huge wall in the center, this outside influence that projects to the side, or along the top here, down the side, and even into the center. So if I were black, I'd be really happy with this result. So that is the 4-3, 6-3 Shimari with this Kakari against it when black plays this move to protect the corner. Next video, we'll look at what happens when black says, white, you can have the corner. I want the outside when black plays this move here. Once again, thanks for watching the World Go channel. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.